One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Man, do we have a lot to fucking discuss this morning. Much love, honor, respect to all of you legends up in the building. Listen, man, I made my coffee for the first time in like 2 months. So we're really in the Breakfast Club now, everybody. So check it out. Hey, man. So we have a lot to discuss, not just what is in the headline right now. And that's why I'm actually very happy right now. But we do have a lot of stuff that is going on around the world, such as West China just had an insane like 7.1 or 7.2 earthquake, and actually has unalived, I believe, like 95, 96 people. We're going to be discussing a little bit of what's going on with Israel and Hamas as well. But you guys know the deal. But before we get into all of this, you know what I mean? Shit. Go ahead and hit that like button for me, you guys. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. You know what else is free? Is hitting that subscribe button if you guys are brand new to the channel, man. Also, please consider becoming a member starting only at $2.99 a month, man. That's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You know what I mean? For the entire month. And it helps out the show. And you guys get a lot of perks out of that, you know. And soon, by the way, I'm getting emojis made for you guys in the chat that are a part of the Breakfast Club inside the membership program. I'm going to get you guys some custom like shit that I say, like shit, like stuff like that. Like there's going to be emojis like up in the building. So anyways, yes, we have that going on every single Saturday morning, 10 a.m. CST, by the way. We have members only live streams over there. Man, you guys got to come check that shit out. Anyways, last but not least, you know, check it out. Of course, everything is going to be shouted out. Super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups. Those, of course, are going to be shouted out. But if you guys would like to help out the show and, you know, skip that brutal 30% YouTube cut, these will be scrolling for the remainder of the show. And, of course, I'll shout your message out with that as well. And I lied to you. This is actually the last bit. Follow me on my Instagram, man, BallValve TV. This is where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my lifestyle, but of the show, as well as Millennial Food Time. We get down, you know, we get down over there. And listen, this is where I correspond pretty much with everybody. Like if you want to get a hold of me, that's like my cell phone number type shit. But if you guys are interested in the Discord as well, I'm starting to get more active in there. I'm actually going to start hosting Discord parties. Make sure you guys hit that link down below in the description for the Discord server. All right. We got through the call, you know, you have to do call to actions. You have to do call to actions when you're running a live show. You know what I mean? Yes. And actually, I feel the very same way regarding this whole ordeal. As soon as this whole thing came out with the breaking news regarding Meta issues major changes to restore free speech on Facebook and Instagram. And that's exactly what I said right there was finally. Yes, it's going to be a good one, man. Good to see all of you legends up in the building. We got Straight Jacket, Carney. Are we not men? I like that, by the way. Robert, you know, he definitely eats corn twice the amount. What's up, Martin? Good to see you up in the building as well. Shit. Steve Easy. Without coffee, I would be back in the joint by 6 a.m. Shit. Well, you know what's funny about that is, man, I don't know why I've been like not craving coffee whatsoever. And yesterday, I was at my parents' house, and it was right after the show, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. And so that low key, yesterday was my first cup of coffee that I've had in like 2 months. But I was like, yo, I'm making one down here now. Shit, I'm back into the groove, you know. Good to see everybody though, Mike. I have no clue how you are not 3 sizes larger. You eat like crazy. Yeah. You talking about my size and the amount of that I eat. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's 2 types of people in this world: people that live to eat or eat to live. I live to eat. Definitely 100%. Joseph up in here saying, good morning, Mr. Ball, breakfast crew, BNC, and can't forget the haters. Stop the cat.
Stop the cap.
My man, I appreciate you over there, as well as Pablo. Good morning, kind sir. Good to see you guys, man. All right, so we got Papa Penguin as well. Just got to say my hellos to everybody in the building, as well as Huggy. Shit, didn't mean to skip over you, my man. Trying to highlight everybody. We got Evil Rick as well. He is under 30. Eventually, it will make him fat. Hey, listen, man. I really think it comes down to genetics, man. I think I got my mom's genetics rather than my father's, you know. And yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this breaking news regarding Meta right now. This is off of Fox. Go check it out.
All right, buckle up. We got a Fox News alert moments ago. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, announcing they are changing their policies to focus on free speech.
What's up, Barbwire? I apologize, dude. I'm going down the list of comments. I'm trying to like go and highlight. It's hard for me to remember and shit like that. So I just highlight who I'm saying. So when you guys are active, I get to see that, and it triggers. It helps me out. All right.
Zuckerberg saying this.
We're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Here it goes.
More specifically, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes,
Thank God.
similar to X, starting in the US.
Wow, this is a big deal. Changes include ending its third-party fact-checking program and lifting restrictions on topics such as immigration and gender identity.
Well, is there anything more important to talk about? Also, until now, Meta used automated systems to scan for violations, but found they resulted in too much censorship. So from now on, they'll focus on tackling illegal and severe violations like terrorism, fraud, to name a few. And joining us right now to name one, a Fox and Friends exclusive, Meta's Chief Global Affairs Officer.
So hold on, before we get into Homeboy over there, so I really do want to emphasize this. So this is the Meta free speech policy changes. So replacing third-party fact check programs in U.S. with a community notes model. And we'll get into what the community notes mean. It's actually you guys that are essentially fact checking. And you can, if something else comes up, you can add to those notes kind of thing. Lifting restrictions on certain topics. Yes, such as migration, illegal migration, and I believe world affairs. I can't remember exactly, but they'll go into that. Automated systems will now focus on illegal/high severity violations and removing reduction of political content. Yeah, we know what happened with politics on social media. We saw that, believe it or not, in 2015, 2016. And then we saw it in 2020, of course, and now we saw it in 2024. So finally, that this is getting handled, to be real.
Joining us right now to name one, a Fox and Friends exclusive, Meta's Chief Global Affairs Officer, Joel Kaplan, joins us live here on the couch. Joel, welcome.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here on the couch on Fox and Friends.
It's great to have you
here.
Okay, so you are announcing these big changes as of 2 minutes.
What? They banned you 2 days after you were making an account? You didn't post anything? You didn't fucking put a profile picture up or nothing? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. That shit is like, that's now going to be over. We got Beezer up in here. Good morning, kind sir. I see you, as well as Justin Blum, my buddy Justin Blum, saying, what up, bro? Happy New Year. Much love to you and the Ball family. Thank you, kind sir. I always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. That is a legend right there. It's fine. I'm at work, so I pretend I'm not here anyway. Yeah, I get you. I get that. Shit. Okay. I I see you, Steve, with with your smart ass shit. And the best part is if they do open up the speech restrictions, the first crap that will run rampant is prawn and racist nonsense. And you're very right about that. It's funny how true free speech, most people couldn't even handle that shit. Like true free speech. Like we see what happens when people, get free speech platforms, and exactly what happens is kind of that kind of bullshit right there. Now, I believe that there's a happy medium to this shit. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be able to sit there and do hate speech and incite violence and shit like that. These are things that go along with free speech, right? And on these platforms, and it's really hard, especially on these social media, sites, to handle that.
Minutes ago.
Yeah.
Without getting sued
if you're
left
making
and
big
right.
changes, does that mean you were doing something wrong before?
Look, this is a great opportunity for us to reset the balance in favor of free expression. As Mark says in that video, what we're doing today is we're getting back to our roots in free expression. There's a number of changes we're making, but if I could, I'll just highlight
Yo,
three.
we got Sage up in the building. Shout out to my man, Sage Outcast. Much love, honor, respect.
First is, as you heard, we're eliminating the third-party fact-checking system. Well-intentioned at the outset, but there's just been too much political bias in what they choose to fact check and how. So we're just scrapping it
You
entirely.
said they, what do you mean? You mean you?
The fact checkers.
You set up but they're yours.
Well,
checkers, right?
so the idea was they're independent fact checkers.
Exactly my point, Steve Easy.
But
Yep.
they've just been too biased. And so what we're going to do instead is adopt a system like X has of community notes. So we're just going to rely on our own community of users to provide people more information about what they're seeing.
What's up, Barbie? Good morning to you up there in Canada. And the way I would say this is everything is in context. Just like on YouTube, things are not, it's not just you saying a certain word. It's you in context of how you say it. Context does matter. If I'm playing around with you and I say, fuck Canadians, blah, 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 like theoretically, is that hate speech, or am I just in context having fun? Everything is context. So I know that that's a bit subjective, and that's the part that people are going to argue, right? So anyways.
And we think that's going to work.
So
great.
give us an example. If we said, if the headline is Donald Trump won the presidency, then anyone in the community can write notes underneath it?
Yeah, great question. So somebody can write a note, and then the way it works is different people on the platform can sort of vote on that note. And if you get people who usually disagree, who all say, yeah, that sounds right, then that
Right,
note
Papa.
gets put on the post and people see it. X has been doing it for a while. We think it's working really well, and we're going to adopt that system.
So, and what are the other ones? I know you want to go.
Yeah, thank you. So the second one is about the rules that govern content on our platform. They've just become too restrictive over time about what people can say, including about those kind of sensitive topics that you mentioned that people want to discuss and debate: immigration, trans issues.
And you also have the freedom to unfollow me. You have the freedom to block me. You have the freedom to do all of these things. You could tell me I'm wrong as well. You can also do that as well, but you also have the freedom to not look, not watch. Simple.
Gender. We want to make it so that, bottom line, if you can say it on TV, you can say it on the floor of Congress, you certainly ought to be able to say it on Facebook and Instagram without fear of censorship. So we're changing those rules.
Yeah, that was a little much there, but we'll see.
And then the last thing, if I could, we're also going to change how we enforce the rules. And we're going to make it so that there's way less over-enforcement and way fewer mistakes that actually make up the vast majority of censorship that people experience on our platforms. So big changes, all in service of getting us back to our values of free expression.
So, Joe, I guess the big question is where are the changes coming from? Because, it's hard not to notice there's been a change in Mark Zuckerberg. You've seen him as, respectfully, the nerdy kid, change over to
shout out to Salty up in the building.
He's put
Good
on
morning.
some lean muscle. His viewpoints have changed. His posting content, when he does speak, he's taking a meeting with Trump, taking a different stance on certain things. Are these changes coming from him or from what the public is saying?
There's no
Yo,
question.
my man, Sport Brand up in the building. Shout out to my boy out here, man. Appreciate you for hanging out with us on this beautiful morning. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be here with me. Man, Big thumbs up to all of you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way.
That the things that happen at Meta are coming from Mark. But there's also no question that there has been a change over the last 4 years. We saw a lot of societal and political pressure all in the direction of more content moderation, more censorship. And we've got a real opportunity now. We've got a new administration.
Yeah, that's a huge issue right there is people will just take not only AI, but someone else's word over something and they'll think that's gospel. You know what I mean? They'll assume that that is exactly facts. And that's also, I mean, that's just laziness in the human nature, right? And so, you know, with AI coming out, they're just going to trust anything AI throws and spits in their face instead of actually doing the research, just like Papa just said. Facts, by the way. Yes, sir.
Administration and a new president coming
Laziness.
in who are big defenders of free expression. And that makes a difference. One of the things we've experienced is that when you have a U.S.
My brother Glare up in the building. Shout out to my man.
president and
Good morning.
administration that's pushing for censorship,
Jay.
it just makes it open season for other governments around the world that don't even have the protections of the First Amendment to really put pressure on U.S. companies. We're going to work with President Trump.
Yeah, we got all you legends coming in, dumping in right now. Just, hey, big shout out to all you legends out there. We got Kieran as well saying, what's up, you good people? Hey, we chilling and enjoying our beautiful morning over here in the United States. Over there in Down Under, it's like 3 a.m. for you, my man. Appreciate you for hanging out with us.
Push back on that kind of thing around the world.
Brother Lee
So,
Lance, my
Joel,
man.
why now?
Thank you guys.
I know you said it's a
Look what I got.
change, but did you feel restricted over the last 4 years? And this is the first time it's in your business interest to express this quest for freedom?
Well, there's no question that there's an
Sick, huh?
opportunity here with a new president taking office, as I said, who really believes in free expression. And that's just going to give us the space to get back to those values that Mark has talked about for a long. Mark gave a big speech 6 years ago at Georgetown about free expression, about these values. Unfortunately, you know, there's been a lot of political and societal pressure here and around the world that have pushed away from those values. We've got a real opportunity to reset, get back to them, and really provide a space.
How
for
was
free
the
expression.
Biden administration putting pressure on you specifically? Were they calling where they didn't like a post? What did they say? Take it down?
Yeah, so Mark talked about this in a letter he sent to the House Judiciary Committee a few months ago. That sort of outlined the way in which we got a lot of pressure around COVID in particular to take down more content, even things like humor and satire about.
Wait, are you saying that the government has not been telling us the truth? No, you're right, Salty. I love that shit.
Pandemic and about vaccines. So we did experience that kind of pressure. The decisions we made ultimately were our own, but there's a real opportunity here with President Trump coming into office with his commitment to free expression for us to get back to those values and really provide space for people to have the kind of discourse and debate they want to have.
Would you do what X did, and that is unleash independent journalists like Matt Taibbi and Bari Weiss and Michael Schellenberg onto forensically go through what you guys are actually repressing, shielding, shadow banning over the last few years? Wouldn't that be part of this cleansing process?
So we've had an opportunity.
Yeah, so Papa Penguin says it's worse than that, Mike Ball. Higher education is infected with reliance on AI. That's scary. Students are using it for everything. And look at the mess higher education or ed has given us or gave us with the alphabet crew, which is fucking facts, man. Imagine what will come. Yeah, that's crazy to think
We need
about.
to do a lot of that
Crazy
with the
to think
House
about.
Judiciary Committee and Chairman Jordan over the last few
Penguin
months and
Bossy, my
years,
man.
and he put out a really thorough report on the experience that we and other companies have had. Honestly, we're pretty focused on the future and the opportunity we have right now with the changes we're making today.
Wait,
to
was there a
really open
raid?
up
There was a raid that came in. Is that what we're talking about? What happened, Hardwire?
the space for debate
So
and expression. on
is
our
the
platform.
idea to get out of politics totally and focus on just the enterprise of the free market, people debating things? Or is it for Mark Zuckerberg to become like a Elon Musk and be influential as well, work with the next administration, or a little bit of both? I don't know.
Well, Mark's always going to be Mark Zuckerberg, but I think there is a real opportunity to work with the new administration.
I saw him like 3 days ago. 2 days ago? 2 days ago. No, it was 3 days ago. Yeah.
both on free expression, but also on American leadership and
What's up,
technology
Steve?
and
Good to see you,
innovation.
my
This
man.
is something we've seen
Grand
President
day.
Trump is really focused on, making sure that we maintain U.S. competitiveness and leadership on technology, things like AI. Those are obviously super important to our company and our industry, and we'll look forward to working with the new administration to advance those goals.
Right. And Joel, when you talk about content moderation, I think a lot of people watching right now are going, well, you know, it sounds better if they're not taking instructions from the federal government, the Joe Biden administration saying, hey, this is wrong, take that down. So people like the idea.
Yeah, that's right. Hit that like button for, you know, we got some free speech going on these, you know, Instagram, Meta, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? We got a little bit of a break, especially on the political aspect, man. Like it was evident and very evident for like 8 years straight. Actually longer than that, but let's just be safe at 8 years. Definitely a lot of censorship towards the right rather than the left. And yeah, that's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Idea that they're going to have a say where you can add the community notes going forward. But ultimately, is this one of the things you're doing as a company to make sure that Meta and the other social media companies aren't regulated by Washington? Because that's the last thing you guys want.
Yeah, I think when it comes to expression, especially in the United States, we got a long tradition of the First Amendment, and we think that the right thing is for individual users to have the ability to decide themselves what to say. Look, there's bad stuff that people do online, like they do in the real world, and we want
yeah, no fucking kidding. There's a lot of people that do some bad shit online. What are you
to make
talking
sure
about?
we don't have that. So we're still going to be enforcing against
I saw that
terrorism and
straight
drug
jacket.
sales and child sexual exploitation, things everybody agrees have no business being on our
What about
platforms.
bullying? All the young little girls. I remember Mark.
Yeah.
Remember he was on the Hill and he had to he kind enough to turn around and apologize to the families, but all those families have lost their kids from bullying. I have a 9-year-old, so I'm starting to get concerned because eventually when she's in high school or even after, she'll be faced with these situations. So what do you say to those families?
Yeah, well, I'm a parent of 2 teenagers.
Gosh,
so,
you're in it.
Yeah, I'm in it. So, you know, these are issues that I take really seriously, and that a lot of my colleagues who are also parents at Meta and those who aren't parents take really seriously. We got to make sure teens are protected online. We launched a few months ago a product called Teen Account.
Yeah, we actually, speaking of what's, you know, going on in Kansas City right now, nothing anywhere close, by the way, what I've got going on here. This is just a side note. We got our very first little tiny bit of snowfall. And I believe it was the first time in like 4 years or something like that that we've gotten even just little flakes here in the South. But yeah, man, it did start coming down, and then it's supposed to actually kind of like snow Friday morning. So I'll be taking some cool ass videos, you know, because I'm in the South, man. I don't see that shit. And grew up in Southern California, never really grew up. Aside from going to the mountains and shit, you know, I would do that. But like living in an area where you're getting a little bit of snow is dope. I don't want too much though. I don't want no fucking ice and shit either. America Uncensored up in the building. Shout out to my man. Hey, good morning, kind sir.
That really puts parents in the driver's seat. And
Brother
makes it
SNS,
so
my
that
man.
they can
Loon popping over here. Shit. Good to see you, my man. Good morning.
see what their kids can see and do online, who can contact them. We put kids in sort of built-in default settings, the most protective settings we have. And then if you're under 16, you can't change those settings on Instagram without your parents' permission. We think that's a really good innovation. It's something we're hopeful. It's an area
How
where
do we
Congress
do that
can act.
setting? How do the parents find that setting on the phone before they give it to their child?
Yeah, well, so we'll send notifications basically to the parents to let them know that this opportunity exists, and the kid can't sign up for Facebook or for Instagram without being put into a teen account, and then their parent gets a notice and says, "Hey."
Oh shit! Are you talking about merchandise? Because if you guys don't know, Lee's actually the one that had this made and sent to me. Shit, that'd be dope, Lee. Well, we'll definitely discuss it for damn sure because I'm excited. Trigger warning. What's up, my man? Saying what up, Mike and fam. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning as well.
Your kid's trying to sign up, and if you want to change any of the settings, you can do it here.
So, Joel, what you got to do is reestablish trust. I mean, people remember the Zuckerbucks into those key areas in 2020 that were deciding which state who would count.
What's up, Emerald? Saying, morning, everyone. The internet is so restrictive. You have to say S word themselves, yes, or unalived, or yeah, or you can't even talk like an adult online anymore. I remember the 90s internet. It was really was the wild, wild west and fun. Yeah. And also, listen, man, I don't think there was that many people online as there is obviously now compared to the 90s. And technology, man, it's a hour by hour thing. So the amount of destruction that is capable online is wild compared to the 90s. Hence why they've gone and overcorrected the issue and made it to where nobody can do shit essentially without getting banned. You know what I mean? But good morning to you, Emerald.
And one of the reasons you're trying to do that is, number one, making this announcement here. The other thing is changing your board to let people know maybe
that's true, Jay.
By the people that you're hiring, that you asked to join, that their agenda doesn't matter.
Hey, we got a call to action right here, right now. We're stopping the shit. Make sure you guys hit that like button, yo. It's free to do so, and it's the number one metric of the show. You know what I mean? It helps out immensely. Thank you, guys. Back to this.
Maybe the 2020 agenda. What have you done?
Well, we made a big announcement yesterday, put 3 new board members on, great board members, including Dana White, the president and CEO of UFC. Guy's a legend, an incredible businessman, incredible entrepreneur, marketing genius. Super excited to have him. A couple other great board members with real deep business experience that we put on the board. So those are important voices. Mark has always been great about getting different perspectives so that we sort of cover the waterfront of ideas and perspectives that we want to make sure are getting fed into the process.
So is this, can you tell the audience and the world that this is not a temporary stance? And what I mean by that, is this just because you got Donald Trump in there for 4 years? Are you guys going to continue this after his presidency, or is this just a temporary thing?
It's actually a very good question.
For the moment.
This is an opportunity for us to get back to the values that Mark founded the company on. This runs deep for Mark. It's a great opportunity to rebalance and to get back to free expression.
Right. When you say rebalance, you know, historically, the big tech companies and social media companies have leaned to the left. You know that. Is this dragging it closer?
That's one of the issues, definitely.
To the center? I mean, with Dana White, obviously a Trump ally as part of the board, is the company becoming more central?
Brother War Gorilla up in the building. Shout out to my man in Vegas, man.
Leaning to one side or the other.
I think the way to look at it is we're a platform for all people and all ideas.
I know, but some people don't feel that certain, and haven't felt historically, that certain social media companies were hospitable to their points of view.
No question. And that's what I meant by rebalance. We want to make sure that they understand that their views are welcome and that we're providing a space for them to come onto our platforms, engage, express themselves, engage in the important issues of the day, or not in the important issues of the day, and just whatever it is they want to talk about and share. Right. And so we need to make sure they feel welcome.
God damn, Dwayne. He says he's in 14 inches of fucking snow, still digging my cars out and shoveling my driveway that's 100 yards long. No snowblower, shovel only. Man. Hey, listen, Dwayne, if you have one of those driveways that's, you know, paved and it's very you know, level, you don't have like cracks and shit and all that, take a big long piece of plywood, big long piece, and use that to push it. You know, you can put that on the ground and it'll just move a fuck ton of snow. I saw that on Instagram, and that's not anecdotal experience. That's watching someone else do it. I was like, holy shit. He just cleared his entire driveway in like 2 minutes compared to like a couple of hours.
Welcome. We need to make sure we rebuild trust. And that's a big part of what we're doing today.
So also there's something else that could be in front of the Supreme Court, and that's future of TikTok, China controlled. So you're an American company. You decide to make this announcement. How does this relate to what TikTok could possibly do?
So look, we like competition. We think it makes us better. I know there are concerns that Congress has expressed and that the president and Congress and the courts are working through with TikTok. we're going to stay focused on what we're doing and how we make our platform as open and welcoming a place as possible for all
You think it
points
should
of
be
view.
banned?
Well, that's something I'm going to leave to the president and the courts and Congress. We're focused, again, we're focused on what we can do to make our platforms the best they can
If
be.
Elon Musk didn't buy
Yep.
X and expose what he exposed and put community notes like this, do you think we'd be in the, what did he, in buying this and doing what he did?
Penguin says it's -13 for him. It's warm here today. I'm gonna throw on them shorts. Listen, I'm still wearing shorts. I'm gonna be wearing shorts year round, always. I'm just someone that got to be showing off the leg, cuz just not happening. I just got to show it off. It is what it is. No need for pants around here in these parts.
Do for the introspection that Facebook is showing right now?
I think Elon's played an incredibly important role in moving the debate and getting people refocused on free expression, and that's been really constructive and productive. And we're just glad that we've got the opportunity now.
You know, honestly, I didn't hear that story, by the way, Salty, but that is interesting.
Now to make these kind of changes and to get back to our roots in free expression.
Maybe all social media companies can learn a lot from this because y'all were the original. You know, Mark was one of the originals at least. And so y'all have had to see all the changes and what works and what doesn't.
That's absolutely correct. It does fall onto the parent's responsibility. It's up to you to, if you're going to have your child on social media, you know, if they're a child, you know, there's now like these teenage Instagram accounts, for instance. I'm sure it is for Facebook as well, but there's like these, for like Instagram specifically, there's teenage accounts now that essentially the parents can run it and control it. And I believe that is something that it is being discussed throughout this as well.
Doesn't work in what Americans really want. So thank you for your honesty. Thank you for doing this
Just
for
one exit
children
question.
and all your customers.
Australia has banned social media up until you're 16 years old. How do you feel about that?
We think the right way to do
Yep,
it.
he did dodge that fucking question. Well, you know, we're going back to our roots. That's essentially what he did. He did dodge the question because we know that it's all this kind of shit is evolving stuff. So they're just doing it as almost like a social construct. What is socially acceptable for that time? What does the majority say? That's kind of seems like how they run. It just seems like it, you know?
It's to
Track
trust
record.
parents. That's what we're doing with the teen accounts that I mentioned.
Mhm.
And you know, obviously, we've got to work with governments and follow the laws that they pass. But I think there's a better way, and that's to put parents in charge. They know what's best for their teens and their kids, and that's what we're trying to do.
What's your biggest customer? What age group?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we've got 3.2 billion people
It's
using
a
our
gravel driveway. That's way fucking harder to deal with.
services, so we really have people across all ages, and we want to make sure we're serving them all and letting them express themselves in a way, especially with teens, where they're still kept safe.
Did you talk to David Sachs about this, who's going to be coming in as the AI?
Yeah,
AI czar.
we've talked to David. We're really excited about that post. We think he's going to do great things. He really understands the industry. He really understands crypto and AI, and we can't wait to start working with him.
Well, Joel, thank you very much for
Estimus.
stopping by the couch
Thanks,
and
Joel.
making the
We
big
appreciate
announcement
it.
today.
Hopefully you'll come back
Thank
as
you.
well.
Absolutely.
Well, that was actually a decent coverage for that. You know, it was good to have him, you know, a representative of the company actually up. So we're gonna go ahead and really quick deviate over, and I'll focus your guys' attention over here because this is happening live this second.
Such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything, and the people saw that. You know, when they vote when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions, and wins all 7 of the swing states, people said, "Well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot." That tells you we won. That tells, and they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that. And it took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, I mean, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America? I'm a
Yep, that's your job to do so right there. Boom, Blair. That's part of being a a father that's protecting their son or daughter.
I'm a very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. We had everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated
that's almost a near impossible ordeal right there, Steve. Sadly,
ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with
what's
Russia
up, process?
and Ukraine.
Good morning.
With Israel, you took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them, but we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength, as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools.
Major
13
facts,
dead
Brand.
and many, many badly, horrifically injured. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs. Nobody ever talks about them.
Yep, unapologetic American. That is exactly what did happen.
The way they got out was outrageous, leaving billions of dollars of brand new military equipment that I bought in the hands of the Afghans and specifically the Taliban. It's the group. And we were doing very well. We would have been out. We would have been respected. I think it's one of the reasons it was so badly handled, that withdrawal, where people are jumping onto airplanes, falling off the sides of airplanes when they're 3,000 feet in the air. And nobody's ever seen anything like that, the worst. And because of that, I think Russia went.
What's up, brother Bob over there in Canada as well? Appreciate you for hanging out with us this morning. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. This is live right now.
When they saw that, they said, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. But we know what we're doing now. And that's going to all end. And we have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We're in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers that would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000.
You know what it's time for?
500,000 or 600,000 getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. And I took him out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually. And we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job, because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize, that's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean.
Straight jacket.
And that's our strength, you know? People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. We're going to have more of it, too. But they took away,
I insist,
625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts. But if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky.
What? Bob says, I got roasted on BD by an old lady from my old club. Wow. What? What do you mean? And yes, by the way, Smoko time. And you know what's so funny about that trigger warning? As soon as I heard Smoko time, I thought it was like smoke time. But I know what it is now. It's like more of a mini break. I'm on Smoko. I'm on a little break. Yeah. So leave me alone, you know? Shit.
They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now, because I've won all these cases.
Yo, fucking brother bees are coming in hot. That's man. I very, very much appreciate that, kind sir. And I'm sure Tony does as well, by the way. Appreciate you with that, kind sir. That shit helps out not only me, but the Breakfast Club as well.
Nobody's ever won so many cases.
I'm on Smoko, so leave me alone.
The Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed. Lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people from that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had
Listen, Pablo, women, let me just put this out here. Women are always going to women. Just expect all the bullshit, all that little fucking hen talking that they do to each other. And also, back to that, regards to hen talking, is single women keep other women single. I said it.
in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever.
Yeah, BNC, that's just grasping at all kinds of straws right there, homie. Like for her, don't even trip on that shit. Just ignore that shit.
They brought this moron
whack.
out of The Hague. He's a mean guy.
You've been
He's
very
a
upfront
mean,
about it.
nasty guy. His picture was perfect because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute
Aquila
people
over
because he'll
there
execute
from down under as well. Shit, we got some Australians up in the building. Shout out.
everybody. He's a nut
Good morning
job.
to you.
But we won all of those cases with him. And I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant
Hey,
judge in
Steve.
Florida, saw right
Serious.
through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about
Damn,
judges
Slim.
and prosecutors. And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give victory to them. They're playing the ref. I think
Adriano, by the way, shout out to you. Shalom to you. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning so far.
legal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her, and never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant, and her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped.
Yeah, you guys love how Biden put a ban to all, well, not all, but almost every single any federal waters. He put a ban to all, fracking and any type of oil drilling has been cut off and been banned.
Appeal, they couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition. And then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon. We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive.
So, Aquila, I ran my own marine petroleum operation on the waterfront. Essentially, I was a third-party transporter for essentially the oil companies and transporting it because the oil companies, they don't actually, well, not some do actually, but most of them hire a third, and someone has to be responsible for it. I was that guy, and I would transfer, anywhere from 1.2 to 2.1 billion dollars worth of cargo per 12 hours. And so, yeah, it was a big ordeal. But yeah, I was that guy.
And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates, 40 to 50 trillion dollars. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away.
Good, Steve. He will.
He's taken $50 trillion. So if we owe
Brother
35
Dean
trillion,
over there in Israel, my man. Shout out to my man. Appreciate you for hanging out with us.
$50 trillion of
And Redneck Side
value
Motorcycle Whips. Shit.
and throwing it right
Good
out
morning.
the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas
Aquila,
heaters.
you knew me while I was actively doing that. Like when I was doing both that and live streaming when I would be off of work, because I'd be out at sea for 21 days and then I'd be home for 21 days. And then I would do seasons of live streaming every single section. I would live stream 21 days off. I would when I was off, I was live streaming. And I was doing both. And that's how I created this, I would say, following base was from doing, both. I had a dream of being able to do what I do right this fucking second. You know what I mean? I had a fucking vision for this shit. And I knew that I couldn't put all my eggs into one basket. In this basket, I had to work and fucking, go for my dream. And now I'm living my fucking dream. Thanks to all of you guys in the Breakfast Club, man. It's insane. Thank you guys.
Out of
Shit.
your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way.
Good.
This guy loves
Trump.
electric. And we
electric
don't have enough
vehicles.
electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They
Hit that like button,
better.
everybody.
They look much better.
Please.
60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly. These people are crazy. There's something wrong.
Bro, are we not, man? Just like I told Grid yesterday, because he's like, hey, man, I need someone to come up here and grift, help me with the grift. And I go, bro, I'm going to be honest. I am the worst grifter in the world. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to say, you know what I mean? Especially for the people that are members, you guys already pay, so I'm really bad at like that whole grifting aspect, right? But by the way, Blair 1%er, our boy over here, sent in a super chat saying, "Are we not men? Don't tell me what to do." Shit. Let's fucking go, my man. I very much appreciate you, Blair. Thank you for that.
With them. There's something wrong with them.
Brother.
They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. And they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long.
It's fucking.
No
I
water
love
comes
it.
out of the faucet. You want to wash your
Trump
hands.
is so fucking
They wanna
funny
go
when he
back to
speaks.
even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it. But these are all things. They want very, very little water to go into your dishwasher, almost none. And you know what people do? They just keep pressing, keep it going. They end up using more water. Likewise, washing machines. They want in your washing machine to have very little water coming out of the washing machine. So when you wash your clothing, you have to wash it 4 times instead of once. You end up using more water.
Drip.
We're a party
Drip.
of common sense
Drip.
and things that I'm telling
Hey, how
you.
much you want to bet that drip, drip, drip comment is going to be a fucking meme somewhere on social media later?
Now is really all about common sense. On January 20th, we'll turn the economy around very quickly, because right now when I think of our economy, I think about inflation. That's what we have. We have inflation, I believe.
Yeah, Killa, it's like 3:48 in the morning for you. You need to go to bed. I appreciate you for hanging out with us in this beautiful morning. Thank you for hanging out with us.
The level that we
Good
never
night.
had before. There's never been anything like it. And over the next 4 years, the United States is going to take off like a rocket ship. But really, it's already doing it. If you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be 200. He said between 100, and I said, how about making it 200? And he sort of said yes, but let's say it's 100, but it might be 200, right, Brian? Dollars, United States, creating more than 100,000 jobs. Hussein just announced a tremendous investment that he's going to make, and that That's money that's in the bank. He's going to come and do it, and he'll do.
We
a
got
great
Ron
job.
Ratty over
He'll
there
build
in
the best
Australia as
centers in the
well.
country, I guarantee, because I know the way he
Wow.
builds.
Shout out to you guys, man.
Since my
Worldwide.
election, the stock market has set records. The S&P 500 index has broken above 6,000 points for the first time ever, never even close. In a single month, small business optimism soared 41 points. It's not a 41. It went up 41 points. And that's the largest in the 39-year history of the group that does it. According to Gallup, the American people's confidence in the economy has just surged to the highest level in history. That's why I have a news conference like that. I take the greatest business leaders in the world. I say, hey, do you want to say you're going to invest the money? They're not looking for news conferences. They're saying, what am I doing here? They go in and they invest money, but it's good to know where the smartest business people in the world are investing, and they're investing in the United States. So we've done this all in 2 months of not being there. You know, we haven't been there. And it's pretty amazing, and we think we're going to do some really...
Hey, I got to quickly do a little stop to the show, my man. I'm sorry about this, everybody. Hey, my man Aaron is up in the building. Shout out to my boy over here. He's a co-host of The Diamond Effect, along with Archbishop and myself. Always great seeing this man here. He says, I will be glad when January 20th gets here. Yeah, it's a damn fact. It's a damn fucking fact, by the way. And by the way, hey, little halt, make sure you guys hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube and helps out the show immensely. Thank you to everybody. If you're new, hit that subscribe button.
Really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. It was the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1.
Beaker, I think you're right.
That,
we'll
they
see.
have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of
We built the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Take back what's ours.
The agreement, and it's they morally violated it also. And they want
Brother Hook Dog, my man, good morning.
And not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it.
Brother Warland, my man,
well, why don't
good
you
morning.
get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. It had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through. The numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship.
Organized
and
insanity.
They took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over. Working with the Republican majorities in Congress will cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years. By 4 times more than any other president cut. We did that in 4 years. And we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year,
Here
plus
goes.
other things.
Here goes Canada
They
talk.
don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, you know, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me.
Real quick, my father is interjecting real quick. I'm going to go ahead and read this and stop the live stream regarding Trump. So my dad says the canal was our leverage worldwide after we built it. It was ours legally. I cannot believe we gave it to Panama to begin with. Been in shipping my whole life. I could go on and on. And yes, so my father, everybody, is probably the most qualified person I know to discuss this topic. He was the harbor master, is what it is. He's control of basically everything coming in and out of the harbor of, the port of Long Beach. And this man did that for 38 years straight. So anyways, I can't believe that we did either. The truth is we built this shit. We need to fucking claim back what's ours and use that as trading leverage for the rest of, United States history. Absolutely.
I said, I don't know, let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially
much love, brother Steve.
cartels.
We'll see you on the flip side, my man.
And can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up.
So Dean, he got kicked out by his own party. Essentially exactly what happened to fucking Biden here in the United States. The exact same thing happened to Justin Trudeau yesterday. He got forced out of his own party. Ha ha, motherfuckers. Back to this.
Getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of
I don't know if he'll
assets.
come
We're
up
gonna
here.
Be, changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but they have to. It takes two to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one. Nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We're number
I should
three.
make him a mod.
I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. Off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories. They have one
Yo, my man,
stories
Mr. Boulay up in the building. Shout out to my man. Thank you for hanging out with us this beautiful morning.
tall. The blades, they
Roll
take
Tide, baby.
3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. And they had actually over, I think, 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster it's amazing the way a true environmentalist would say, oh, we love wind. It sounds good, but that's about where it ends. You know, after 10 years, you have to redo them. And what happens is they don't do that. They let them stand and they rust, and they say, because of the environment, I'm not a believer in this, but they say you can, because it's a certain fiberglass, that the blades cannot be buried in earth. That's
Sorry,
an
I got a phone
environment. So
call.
what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And I don't know if you've ever gone to Palm Springs, California, or any of these places where you have long-term windmills standing. They're a disaster. They're rusting, rotting, closed, falling down. This is as you enter Palm Springs. And they put new ones next to them because nobody wants to take them down, because why should they take them down? It's very expensive to take them down. And you can't do anything with them because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take 50 to 60 trillion dollars off our country's balance sheet because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it. I
Much
know
love,
it.
brother Warland.
The
Be safe out
Democrats
there.
know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet you, if you asked him today, how much acreage
Nope.
did
It
you
was one of my he's the president of a 1% motorcycle club.
submit? Essentially, did you destroy? You destroyed you destroyed the economic viability of drilling in the ocean. And with AI coming along and all, you know, a lot of people don't realize that AI is going to be a big thing. But
What's up, brother Ghost
you'll
Eagle?
need
Good
double
morning.
the electricity at least that we have right now. So right now we produce electricity for many, many different things. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future. China is already
Look at this
building
cat, by the way.
electric facilities, big, bold electric facilities. And you know how they're being fired up? With coal. They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein that are doing the same thing as he is. I'll bet they don't do it as well because I know how he does it, but they're doing
Shit.
a lot of things. The problem is they can't get their permits because I say build the plant with the building. So with the structure, build the plant, because if you go into grid, the grids are old. So they said, that's a great idea. In other words, build your electric facility
What's up,
alongside
Tats?
of your
Good morning
plant.
to you. Good afternoon to
And
you,
you
actually.
could have extra output if you want, because once you build it, you can make it larger, pretty inexpensive.
I like that name.
Extra
What's up,
output,
Dick
which
Trickle?
you'll sell to the
What's
public.
good?
But
Good morning.
build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen.
Yes, we are.
I think
Take
very,
back
very
our
quickly.
shit.
It's already happened. So I would say this, and this has been pretty openly reported by the news. There's never been any.
Oh, what are you talking about, Papa? I was the very first one to talk about that 8 months ago. 8 months ago, when it's called the Restrict Act, is what you're talking about right there. Yeah, that shit is fucking insane. If you guys think the Patriot Act was a breach of our fucking Constitution, look up what the fucking Restrict Act is, everybody, which was passed over TikTok. TikTok was the fucking face of the bill and made it all fucking fancy, and everyone voted on that shit and passed it, and passed the real fucking reason for the TikTok bill was the fucking Restrict Act. Absolutely. You're 100% right, Papa.
Thing like what's happened in the list since we won the election, couple of months since we won the election, the whole perception of the whole world is different. People from other countries have called me. They thank you. Thank you. The perception of the whole world is different. We're going to have to settle some big problems that are going on right now. We're going to have to settle up with Russia, Ukraine. That's a disaster. I look at numbers every week, the number of people being killed in that war. People don't know, mostly soldiers now. But the towns have been obliterated.
Drip,
This was a
drip,
Biden
drip.
fiasco that he got us. That should have never happened. If we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, Russia would have never, ever gone in. But they did go in, and we have a mess.
That
The
is
cities
funny,
are all
Beezer.
blown up. The people have largely left. And the soldiers are killing each other at levels that haven't been seen since the Second World War. So we'll have to get that one straightened out, too. That's a tough one. Much tougher than it would have been before it started, I can tell you that. A deal could have been made just by an average deal maker. Deal could have been made on that. So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah,
Hell yeah, question time.
go ahead, please.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start.
Giddy,
if we
stop.
could, with
I'm putting you
the
down.
references to Greenland.
You gotta behave.
And,
Yeah.
the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the
Yeah,
strategy? And then
I
if
can't
that's
assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two.
I love that he's
But,
so straight up
I can
about the
say
shit.
this, we need them for economic security.
Correct.
The Panama Canal was built for our military.
something
I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something.
Let him fucking speak.
Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China.
Correct.
China.
He's
And we
right.
gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China.
Correct.
And they-
Correct. Boom. That's what my father just said in the fucking chat earlier ago.
They've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive. They
Yep.
say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever
It's an
built.
operation.
And
It's an entire
giving that
goddamn
away was a
operation.
horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even
Yep.
more so than the hostages.
Dumbest
Those two
decision ever
things.
made.
follow up on Ukraine and Iran, the two negotiations you'll be heading into. On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated
Do you believe?
because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started. It's you've
Well,
got,
not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
so
They're
you've got
like,
what you've got at this point. Would you, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
well, I wouldn't tell you
And
if
would
that were
and
the
would you
case.
make a commitment to provide a security guarantee if
Yo.
you don't enter into an armistice or a ceasefire
Yeah.
along the lines that the French and the Germans?
So
Trump, don't give away your fucking tactic or plan right here. Don't do it.
no, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now they've said that that's been like written in stone.
Yes, that is
And
written in
somewhere
stone.
along the line, Biden
That was
said,
the
no, they
agreement.
should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes
no
made
kidding,
in that
Salty.
negotiation. And
Good
when
question.
I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And
What's
it
up,
could
Jess? Good
escalate.
morning
That
to
war
you.
could escalate
Early morning.
to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal and then Biden broke it. They had a deal, which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago, when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said, they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that If it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills.
Yep.
At that time,
He
28
forced.
countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills.
Correct.
21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
Yep.
And as
Thank
soon
God.
as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills.
Man. This is the type of shit is why he got fucking elected again.
So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Why are we in for
sorry to hear that,
billions
Jess.
and billions of dollars more money than Europe?
I hope it goes
And
better
they're
for
a
you.
similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who, you'll probably have it, because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister.
And he's extremely serious on this topic right now. Like, you can see that he's serious about the shit. Everything, his demeanor and everything has been very professional, in my opinion.
Up from a country, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up, he says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%.
Yep.
But at that point it was 2%.
GDP.
Many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%. Well, I think NATO should have 5%, yeah. Well, you can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, they're in dangerous territory. They can all afford it.
It should be elite.
Yeah. They should be at 5%.
If you're going to do
2%.
it. I disband all of it, I say.
Pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a
defund
prime minister
NATO,
stood up, and he
defund
said to me,
EU.
Sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills,
UN,
will the United
defund
States
all of it.
protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you. I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was the most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
Related.
I like how they all scream for it.
First, you said on your first day of office, you're going to pardon January 6th defendants.
Good question.
Are you going to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole.
Yo, Jay Goldbar up in the building. Shout out to my man and the sponsor of the channel, my man. For all your left-handed tobacco needs, that's the guy right fucking there. So I'm going to drop his link in the chat.
Because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted. And people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Major pardons, you said. Yep.
Please.
On Jack Smith's report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking
Well, I
office?
won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about? The Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started and I said, please don't do that. And he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened. Iran was weakened. And he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names. And they went in and they took over. And that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, I know you interrupted. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way, I
Syria
have
at this point?
the envoy here. Is that in the back? Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job. He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
Well, that was my second question is, Hamas
Steve,
released
come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words.
Sir,
I didn't-
Hamas released another hostage
I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually.
Neither did I.
He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Mr. President, can I ask you the second part of that? Hamas
Yeah,
released
just one
another
second,
hostage
please.
video.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
going to give you a
saying
little
one
report
second.
on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much.
This is awesome. He's doing this.
Wow.
He wasn't expecting this.
Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the
Yo.
inaugural.
Holy shit. Justice dropped a fucking bomb on you guys. Thank you very much for that, Jess. I very much appreciate that immensely. Man, I hope they dispersed out to you guys. Let me check. Let me make sure. Yes. Okay, they actually fucking did it. Thank you. That's awesome. I guess because we're not talking about certain star state right now, huh? Interesting how that fucking works. Anyways, back to this. Thank
We'll
you
have
so
some
much,
good
Jess.
things to announce on behalf of the president. I actually believe that we're
No,
working
you wouldn't. Of course
in
not.
tandem in a really good way, but it's the president, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives.
Yeah, very true, Papa Penguin, by the way. 100%.
I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there, that's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen? If there's a deal even at all? We've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know.
since October 7th.
I would say,
They better be.
right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be
Before I
paid,
take
or
office.
that all hell must be paid if they don't release the
You know what that
hostages.
means, don't you?
Well-
Do I have to define it for you? All
No, I know
hell
you're not
will
gonna
break out.
telegraph
If
what-
those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Wow. That's a statement.
It will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
That's
They
what it
should have
is, he
given them
said.
back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have
He's
the right
right.
person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That was a fucking humongous statement. Wow.
40 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She had never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd.
What's up, Stefan?
And the
Good morning.
crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun. Okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment.
Hey,
a lot
listen, man.
A lot of good reasons. But
Absolutely.
there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? They know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice, it's Department of Injustice, being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI,
Oh yeah, no, I don't grift, homie. That's not in my nature to do so. I'm just thankful for anything that happens.
I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement. I mean, you think of the FBI. They raided
Lorraine
this
Bobbitt.
house.
Nah,
By the way,
not
they
that
could have
chick.
told me, could I see
That's
this
funny.
guy? I would have given him I actually told them, come in anytime you want. You can see anything. They raided the house and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that. And I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things too. The FBI has gone so, its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again. because all they did was attack me because I'm their political
Defund all three letter agencies.
opponent. And that includes with local judges like Marshawn. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the president of the United States, and I'm not allowed to speak. Why? Because if I did speak, people would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for their case.
I'll be
He actually
live
valued
streaming the
that chandelier is
inauguration.
worth more than $18
Don't worry,
million.
I will.
He valued this house as $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, the most vicious, vile person. These are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that.
Mr. President, back on Greenland. Your position is clear.
Here goes the Greenland. Okay, he goes. This is straight into what you guys are talking about in the chat right now. Here we go.
Back on Greenland. Your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again? You didn't rule out military coercion.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time.
It's a awesome fucking hub militarily. Yeah.
Before I even ran, I mean, people have been talking about
Gunpowder Nitro. Good morning, my man.
You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
You asked your staff to draw plans for acquisition. I mean, are you actively?
No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate for?
You mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative things about a couple of people that are running for office, but that's not so unusual. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you about Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet?
See, good to see you.
To
Good morning.
discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate because, you know, every day many young people are being killed, soldiers. You know, the land is very flat and hundreds of thousands of soldiers many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead. And they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland, and it's very, very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
Conversation within the
I hope
first
so.
3 to
I hope to have 6 months. No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine.
Both
And it
sides.
should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened.
He's right.
I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who would you like to nominate to replace Michael Barr as vice chair of the board?
I'll be announcing somebody.
Yeah, it's funny how Greenland and Iceland, those two places, Greenland is more icy than Iceland is actually, green. You know, it's funny how that worked out. But yeah, it's colder over in Greenland.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada the 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't
He says, I don't care.
But Sir Lopez, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire?
No, economic force.
Mm-hmm.
Because Canada and the United States,
Exactly.
that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada.
Yes, we do.
So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them.
Absolutely,
because
so
stupid
good. Be
people
good.
Put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you? If we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers. And Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function. If we didn't take their 20% of our car market, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We get a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything, and we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors.
Yes, we have.
But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give
per
them
year
in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
Hey, real
Ryan,
quick. We got to do a little halt to the show real quick. You know what I mean? Shit. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube, man. It helps out the show immensely. Thank you guys for that's the one thing I asked for. You know what I mean?
Happy New Year,
Back to
by the
this.
way.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news. You may not be aware of this, but it looks like Canon has blocked the DOJ from releasing the Smith's report until further court proceedings. Get your thoughts on that.
That's a big story.
Yeah.
So if I get it right, the fake witch hunt.
Shit. No
started by
grifting time.
The DOJ.
Shit.
Having to do with books and records, and Biden had many more, and he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act. I was. But all of that fake stuff that took the lives of people, I mean, literally destroyed people. People are destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden.
No kidding,
did it
Hardwire.
for 40 years. He did it when he was a senator. That was
You're done being a territory, right? Yeah,
illegal. And they ruled it was illegal. How about that? They said it's illegal, but he's unfit to stand trial. So he can stand and be president of the United States, but the prosecutor found that he's unfit for trial. I was going to use that as a major talking point, but I never got to use it because all of a sudden I had a new candidate who was also sort of unfit to stand trial, right?
I love that he's so fucking brutally honest with his shit. Yes, that is great.
So what you're saying is that the judge just blocked the. So Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. So this is deranged Jack Smith. So he lost in court in front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost in court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him. In disgrace. Because he failed so badly. Because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying
Much love,
is
gunpowder nitro.
I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it be. Because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news. Good.
And if I can just follow up real quickly, you want to comment, many Americans are angry that we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban.
Oh, no fucking way this is being brought up right now. Yes, we send like $28 million or $26 million per week to the Taliban.
That we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban. Do you anticipate?
It's not even believable. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions.
Yes.
We pay billions of dollars to essentially the Taliban, Afghanistan. And that's given by Biden. That's the same man that took away $50 to $60 trillion worth of value from the United States. Think of it, probably our most valuable asset. Took away our most valuable asset. This can't be allowed to happen. We are now a nation of common sense. When he does that, 625 million acres, this can't be allowed to happen. Thank you for the information. Most other people probably knew about it, but they wouldn't have told me, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
You vowed to bring down the prices at grocery stores very fast.
Yeah, we won't
but
do it
then you
fast.
recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
It's always
When
hard to
can they
bring
go
down
the
prices when
grocery
somebody
store?
else has screwed something up like they did. But we'll bring them down. We'll get them down. Energy is going to bring down prices. We're going to have a lot of energy. And energy is what brought it up. Energy and their bad spending is what brought it up. And energy is going to bring it down. We're going to have prices down. I think you're going to see some pretty drastic price reductions.
That's very
As an
true,
example,
brother GEG.
food, bacon, ham, apples, everything has gone through the roof. It's one of the reasons I won. So as you know, and I said it, inflation was one of the reasons I won. But I think the biggest reason I won was the fact that they are allowing prisoners to come into our country. They released their prisoners, their murderers. Thousands of murderers are now walking around the streets of our cities and farmland all over. Murders, people that have killed many, 32% have killed more than one person. They released them from their jails, their prisons, and their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. I believe that's the reason we got such a large vote. Right, maybe one or two more questions.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Good job. Good job, Trump.
Go ahead.
Doing
Go,
great.
you go.
Fuck, man. This is one of the best
Can you,
I've ever seen.
President Carter is laying in state today in Washington. You had some harsh words for him about the Panama Canal. Is there any disconnect there? Do you feel a little bit bad about doing that on this day?
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election.
It
that
did.
and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But again, this was a question that was asked.
It was
of me.
a
I didn't
terrible
bring it up.
decision.
I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal because of Jimmy Carter's death. But people don't bring it up. But, you know, you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place. But just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito? They were dying. It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States. But they know they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 38,000. And then we gave it away for $1.
Now getting your agenda through
Congress, you appeared to open the door in your radio interview yesterday for a two-bill approach. Is it still your preference for one big, beautiful bill, as you have said?
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will. But if two is more certain, it does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. Now, you have to understand, for immigration and for the wall, we won the case on the wall. You know, they tried to sell the wall for 5 cents on the dollar, by the way.
Big W to you, Papa Penguin. That's exactly right. 100% correct, by the way. Hit that like button, y'all.
And we had, fortunately, a judge that stopped that. But they were already discarding the wall.
Absolutely, Gold Bar. Be good, my
5 cents on the
man.
dollar. And you know what they were doing? They were calling us up and saying, we'll sell it back to you at 200 cents. In other words, double what we paid for it. So they were going to buy it from this guy for 5 cents on the dollar. They were making deals. And fortunately, we had a very smart judge that stopped it cold. I think he called for an investigation too, and he should. But think of it. They were selling the wall. That was exactly the wall that the Border Patrol wanted. That was designed by them. Steel, concrete, rebar. Exactly as they want. Very, very heavy steel, very powerful steel, hard to cut. Very, very heavy, 7,000-pound concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Everything was top of the line. Very expensive. Would be double what we paid for it then, 6 years ago. But let me just tell you, they were selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people. And those people were calling us, asking us to pay them 200 cents because it's a good deal because we can have it immediately. And you know what immediately is? Just leave it in place. No, the papers haven't written that, though. You understand? That deal is like all the other things that these people do. These people either hate our country or they're very stupid. And I don't believe they're stupid because nobody can cheat on elections like they cheat and be stupid. They either hate our country or they're stupid. So remember what I said, because nobody wants to report it. They were selling the wall for 5 cents on the dollar.
Yep.
And trying to resell it back to us for 200 cents or less, but for 200 cents on the dollar. That's a nice return.
They announced that it will stop putting fact checks on the posts on its website. And Meta said today it would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow.
Hey, he's talking about Meta, talking about the fact check that we reported on the top of this hour, or top of, not this hour, of this show, where we discussed Meta issues, major fucking changes to restore free speech on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he said probably. Absolutely. Yeah.
The last time we were,
Probably.
The last time we were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said, I don't talk about it. It's a military strategy.
But it is a legitimate question. It's something that.
Well, it's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more, Brian, go ahead.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
Yeah, they're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be hopefully a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate, I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first. And the question is whether or not we do the two bills or one bill. And, you know, look, I can live either way. I like the idea of the one big bill, but I can live either way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now, this is the winter season. You know, they sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Meriwether Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got
This
a lot
is
of
going to
credit
be
for saving
the
it.
end,
Most of these big great
end
houses have
of
been
the
knocked down
conference,
in Palm Beach.
guaranteed.
Just about all of them, actually. And they, you know, you'd build 10 mansions on one site, but we saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House, and she gave it to the government. And By the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that.
I was just told.
Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once, and he thought it was incredible. But he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
On reconciliation.
Oh, he's doing another question. I thought that was going to be it.
Massive bill that you and they shared the interest in. They want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that?
Well, I'm okay with spending cuts. I like spending cuts. Just I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing, but that was put into our lap and it shouldn't have been, but it was. And so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
Damn, another one?
On immigration, sir, on immigration. How much can you do by executive order? Are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration?
That's a good question.
How much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one.
Well, I had the safest border in the history of our country by far. You remember?
Wow. Wow. What the fuck? Are We Not Men never donates to nobody. He's real stingy with his shit. Hey, man, thank you for the $2. He says, I'll give you $1.99 if you read this super chat. I'll even blast it for you. Thank you, kind sir. I very much appreciate that.
I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border by far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse. I got elected because of the border the first time. And I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say, this was too big to rig. You know the expression? Too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So very simple. I went to the military. I said, our country is being invaded.
Yeah.
By very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't.
Yo, Hardwire. Shit. Hardwire coming in with the 5 spot saying, I see your $1.99 and I raise you. Shit. Thank you so much for that, Hardwire. That immensely helps out the show. Thank you, kind
mental
sir.
institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our country is being invaded. And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they start going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar.
They did. Idiots.
So we'll do this
Idiot
again.
left.
I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm
Yes.
just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. This is the golden age of America.
Good
We're
job,
a great
Trump.
Country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian prime minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in and flew out. She wanted to see me. And great respect is being shown when I went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by the prime minister, the president, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages. for Israel and for us.
Mhm.
You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out. Thank you very much.
Wow. Holy fucking shit. That was fucking great. Man, that was one of the best I've seen Trump speak and have a very serious conversation, very professional. And man, that was immense. That's exactly what we needed right there. And man, that was a fucking statement. Well, guys, listen up. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me this beautiful morning. I'm always honored. And listen, man, this is something that I love doing, man. This is my passion. This is something I really enjoy fucking doing. And by the way, Beezer says, for the 10 spot, by the way, says, I'll see your 5 and raise you 5. Shit. Yeah, sir. It was fucking partying this bitch today. You know what I mean? Listen, I always look forward every fucking day to hang out with you guys. You know, this is something I legitimately am honored to be able and grateful to be able to do, you know, because I know not everybody that wants to be able to do something like this is actually able to. And you guys have made that fucking happen. So I can't thank you guys enough for that. On the way out, make sure you guys hit that like button, you guys. It's the #1 metric of all of YouTube. Helps out the show immensely. That's the one thing I do ask of you guys in the chat and, you know, watching the video as well. So listen, we're going to be rating our, I don't want to say buddy, but someone that's entertaining, you know, CT, Chaotic Truth. We're going to go ahead and rate him because he's the only one live right now. We're going to go ahead and go and troll him. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about yet. So sometimes he has some base takes and sometimes he's got some real L takes. Anyways, much love, honor, respect to all of you legends. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. Much love, honor, and respect. And God bless. See you guys.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire.
Holy shit! Hardwire!